Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a pregnancy update for you guys, and this is going to include all the weeks between week 4 and week 11. My next video is going to be a 12-week update video because I'm currently 12 weeks pregnant. So that video is going to cover everything that has happened the previous week, the past week I guess. So this is going to include weeks 4 through 11, and if you are interested in the symptoms I've been having this pregnancy and the major things that have gone on these past few weeks, then just keep watching. A main thing that's been going on in my first trimester is just exhaustion. I am just so tired, and this pregnancy, I remember being really tired with Skyla, but I'm just as tired, if not more tired this time, because I have much more responsibility now that I already have a kid, so I've just been very tired. I've had lots of cravings and food aversions ever since the very beginning, like right when I found out at 4 weeks pregnant. I was actually a little bit before 4 weeks when I found out. I have just had tons and tons of cravings, and I listed some of my cravings so that I could tell you guys what they are. Anything spicy. I love Bloody Mary mix. Obviously I can't have Bloody Marys, but just the mix by itself, the Mrs. T's, is so good, and I crave that all the time. Chick-fil-A. And that was a big one that I craved with Skyla, was Chick-fil-A, and that has definitely come back. Taco Cabana bean and cheese tacos with salsa or queso. I crave that with Skyla too, so that one is exactly the same as it was last time. And these are totally like hormonal cravings. They're not in my head because I had almost forgotten about those cravings, and they just came back like it was nothing. So I know that it's definitely a hormonal craving, and it's not something that pregnant women just think up in their head. It's for real. Anything sour. I was loving these snow cones or shaved ice from Bahama Bucks when I was pregnant with Skyla, and they're called, the ones that I like are called super sour lemon sour, and I've just been craving those to no end. Lemonade, especially the lemonade for Chick-fil-A. Sometimes I'll drive across town just for the lemonade, and that's all I'll order when I go through the drive-thru. Fruit. One day I went to the grocery store and I just bought a ton of fruit. I just filled up my entire basket with fruit because that was all that sounded good. Guacamole. One day I took Skyla to lunch, just her and I, to this Mexican restaurant that makes the best guacamole ever, and we went to lunch just so that I could get some of the guacamole. That's how bad I was craving it. And a new craving for me is hot dogs. I normally don't ever crave hot dogs. I know how bad they are for you, but I've just for some reason been having hot dogs on the brain. Another symptom is vivid dreams. I had this with Skyla too, but they are back, and it seems like every week they get more and more intense, and I wake up like thinking, holy cow, like it seems like the dreams are so real that it's like they actually happen, and I wake up from them just like I don't even know what the word would be, but just like, I guess shocked, and just I am shook by my dreams. Another major one, and I was like this with Skyla too, but I think it might be even worse this time around because I'm almost a year postpartum. I'll be a year postpartum on June 14th. But I think that I still definitely was going through a little bit of postpartum hormones. And on top of that, now being pregnant, I think my hormones are so jacked up that I've had like so many mood swings and I've just been really emotional, irritable, just all the emotions of the rainbow that you can think of. I have felt all of them, and it is an anxiety too. I have anxiety in general, and I had it postpartum. I had anxiety before I got pregnant, but when I got pregnant is when it started last time with Skyla, and then postpartum it got way worse on steroids. And then when I stopped breastfeeding, I actually had to go on to a postpartum anxiety, or not even a postpartum anxiety, just a regular anxiety medication called Ativan. And I was only like take as needed, and I would take it anytime I was feeling anxious, and it really did help. But now that I'm pregnant, I can't take anything, or not pediatrician, the OB just said it's not a good idea to. I'm sure if it was like, if I couldn't handle it, there might be something, but I've been trying not to, and I haven't. The first few weeks of my pregnancy, and especially around week 8, I was so bloated that it looked like I had a baby bump, but it's not a baby bump that early in pregnancy. It's just bloat because of all the extra hormones, once again, and you retain a lot of water in those first few weeks. And I had thought that I had gained 4 pounds because I started out at 135, and at one point I got on the scale and it said at 139, and I thought I had gained 4 pounds already, which completely blew me away. But then when I got on the scale last week, I weighed 137. So technically I've only gained 2 pounds throughout the pregnancy, and I'm 12 weeks right now. But it's just fluctuating. It fluctuates because of water retention and bloating. And I think that women are all just so different with what their bodies do during pregnancy. Some women make it all the way through their pregnancy and they barely look pregnant, and some women like me just get huge right away. And everybody's body responds differently. And if you're one of the people like me whose body hangs on to water, you just have to understand that your pregnancy is not going to be like your best friend's pregnancy. One of you might stay really tiny and one of you might get really big. And in my opinion, there's not really much that you can do about it unless you're really strict on your diet and exercise, which would be amazing. And I wish I was that person, but I'm not. So my body just kind of does its own thing, and I'm prepared for that. I lost all of the weight with my last pregnancy except for 2 pounds. So I'm prepared. I'm prepared to go through it all again, and I'm fine with it. My skin, guys, my skin has been out of control, and not just on my face. I've had breakouts everywhere on my face, and I never have breakouts like this, and you can't really tell because the lighting is kind of washing it out right now. But my breakouts are out of control, and not only that, my whole body. And like after I shave, even my legs, I'll get a rash on my legs after shaving. And even I use an all natural lotion. It's like Alba, I think it's Alba or Albi. Just plain unscented, pure all natural lotion, and I still have been getting rashy, itchy skin, and I get these raised bumps that I do not get when I'm pregnant. And so my skin, just like with Skyla, once again, it's the same thing, it's just reacting so badly to this pregnancy. Off and on throughout the first trimester, I've had itchy, I just said itchy, I've had crampy and like a sore stomach, like my lower abdomen sometimes feels sore, or it sometimes feels crampy or full or heavy, and that's just been going on and off throughout the first trimester. I have been getting headaches, and not very much in the beginning, but each week they get worse and worse and worse. Like right now I'm 12 weeks and my head was pounding yesterday so bad that I felt like it was blurring my vision, it was making me dizzy, it was making me disoriented and confused. And I know that those are warning signs, but I had those with Skyla in the first trimester as well. And I don't have protein in my urine, and my blood pressure is fine, so I don't have preeclampsia. It's too early for that anyway. However, I struggle with these headaches, and I did with my last pregnancy too, so I feel a little bit more calm this time around. But I will always just make sure that I'm checking my blood pressure, and every time I go into the doctor, they're checking the protein in my urine, because I know that headaches can be dangerous. But they seem to just be getting worse every week. And this one that I had yesterday lasted all yesterday, all last night, all throughout the night last night. I went to bed at 7 p.m., like 7 or 8 p.m. And then this morning I slept 12 hours, and then when I woke up this morning, it was just still pounding. It's awful. Nick and I traveled to Iowa when I was 6 weeks pregnant, and I hadn't announced or anything yet, but I was having some cramps, like some really bad cramps in my right side, like where my right ovary would be, and I had a little bit of spotting. So while we were in Iowa, we were there for a week, I made an appointment with an OB there in Iowa to just make sure that I wasn't having an ectopic pregnancy or anything like that, just to get checked out right away, because that can be dangerous if you're having like shooting pains in that area. And I went in, they did an ultrasound, and they were able to find the baby's heartbeat, and it was not an ectopic pregnancy. Everything was normal, and she said that everything looked great. They did a pap smear, and also, what did they do? A pap smear and a GBS test, and I was GBS positive with Skyla, but this time it came back negative, and the pap smear came back normal. So I had a normal 6-week visit, but my OB in Texas doesn't see you until 8 weeks. So that was my initial appointment, was at 6 weeks. We already knew that the baby had heartbeat and that it was a normal pregnancy so far. I've been super lightheaded and dizzy and like having blackout spells when I stand up really quick, and I know that that can be caused by low blood sugar, but also during pregnancy your blood pressure can be really low, and it can just happen, and I don't get that normally, but since I've been pregnant, that symptom is getting stronger and stronger each week. When I was 8 weeks pregnant, we went to Italy, and we had an 11-hour flight, and it was pretty bad. My legs started getting cramped And you're supposed to get up every hour or so and walk around so you don't get blood clots, because when you're pregnant, you're at a higher risk for blood clots. And I was trying to get up a lot, but I slept as much as I possibly could. So when I would woke up, my legs were so swollen and painful and itchy, and I was freaking out that I had a blood clot, but I didn't. And when we got to Italy, we were doing lots of tours on buses and trains, and I have severe motion sickness mixed with the fact that I was extremely nauseous during my pregnancy, or I have been extremely nauseous during my pregnancy. I wasn't with Skyla, but during this pregnancy I've been very, very nauseous, like from the beginning. And I got pretty sick the entire time that we were in Italy, and I ended up throwing up one night. It was our last night there. We were on a bus, and we were even sitting in the front where I could watch the road, but those buses, like, they stop and they go and they do turns, and it's like, I couldn't take it. Like, my motion sickness mixed with my pregnancy nausea was too much to handle, and right when we got to the hotel, I just puked. And I didn't throw up at all with my pregnancy with Skyla, and it's very different this time around when it comes to that. When I was 9 weeks pregnant, I got a virus, and it was like, I'm almost 100% sure it was the norovirus, and Skyla had it when we were in Italy. Skyla came down with the virus. She was staying with my mom, and she came down with the virus, and then my mom came down with the virus, and then a couple days after they both had the virus, they came to Colorado to, they came to Texas, because Skyla went to Colorado with my mom while we were gone. They came back to Texas. We picked Skyla up and had like dinner with my mom when we picked her up, and my mom went to go stay with her best friend who lives in Houston. And we were only in contact with my mom for a couple hours when she dropped Skyla off. And Skyla had been over the sickness for even longer than my mom, probably 3 or 4 days at that point. But either Skyla or my mom transferred the virus to me. And when I came down with it, I was so sick, maybe the most sick that I've ever been. I was throwing up like probably once every hour or once every hour and a half for probably about 10 hours. And it was excruciating because I would go through these phases. My stomach would cramp up, it would hurt so bad, it would just be like stabbing pains in my stomach. Then the nausea would come, and then it would vomit, and I had nothing in my stomach, not even any fluid, because I couldn't keep fluid down. The second I would drink even a sip of water, I would throw it back up, and I would just puke, and then get back in bed, and I'd maybe have 3 minutes of relief, and then the cramps would start back up, and then the nausea would start back up, and eventually I'd throw up, and it would all happen again. I tried to take medicine for nausea that my doctor said was okay, and initially I was just throwing it up, and I went and sat in the shower, and I was just like praying, like I just was letting the water like run on me, and I was just saying, I'm not gonna throw this medicine up. I have to have this medicine because you know, I have to get this anti-nausea medicine down, or I'm not gonna stop throwing up, and I'm gonna get dehydrated, I'm gonna have to go to the ER, and it's just gonna be a mess. So I was just in the shower, just waiting, you know, hoping that I wouldn't throw up, and I was mentally talking myself out of throwing up, and my body just completely took over, and I just started throwing up, and I couldn't control it, and it was sucky. It was so sucky. But if you do get the norovirus, I recommend that you puke in the shower, and that you just get in the shower and let the water run on you, because that was the only like time that I felt even semi-okay, even though I was throwing up. And I was worried about the baby afterwards. I was worried that if I got too dehydrated, or that the throwing up would have hurt the baby, and it didn't. I checked the heart rate the next day, and there was still a heartbeat, because I found it on the Doppler. And then at 10 weeks I went in and I saw my OB, and everything looked good. So it was okay, but it was really scary. I've been having round ligament pain, and sometimes it feels like a rubber band will snap in my stomach when I yawn or cough or laugh. It just feels like a pop, and that's just because the muscles are stretching out and making more room. Like I said, at 10 weeks, I had my appointment with my OB here in Texas, and it was great. She drew my blood for all of the genetic testing, but I had that done with Skyla. But she did my blood draw, and all of my tests came back normal. I didn't have any, all my tests that I took came back normal, and they drew a ton of blood, crazy amount of blood. And they called me to tell me everything was normal, but they also called me to tell me that they know the sex of the baby, because they're able to do this, I want to say it's called a verify test with an I, like VERIFY test. It's just a blood test that you can choose to have done when you get your genetic testing done. Like, they recommend it for women 35 and older, or if you just, some people's insurance covers it and mine does, so I had the option to get it, and so I did. And it just comes with the it will tell you, because if there's an X chromosome, it's a boy, and if there's no X chromosome, then it's a girl. I think I'm saying that right. If not, just blame my pregnancy brain. But they're able to tell you like right away what you're having. They told me with Skyla, I think at like 13 or 14 weeks, and they were told me super early this time that they had the results, and I told them that I did not want to know. We want to be surprised when the baby is born to find out what the sex is, and it's very hard. There have been so many times that I've wanted to just call up there and be like, listen, we want to know, like, I can't wait that long. But I'm trying to be strong, because I feel like that moment right when you give birth, and then Nick will say it's a girl or it's a boy, that'll just be such a magic moment, and I don't want to ruin it by finding out early, because we already have everything we need. We don't need to buy anything, you know. And the baby won't be in the nursery for at least 6 months. Skyla didn't go to hers for the first 6 months, so we would have plenty of time to do a nursery either way. But oh, it's gonna be really hard to wait, and I hope that I can be strong, and I also hope that no ultrasound tech accidentally gives it away. That would really suck, especially if I'm putting all this effort in not to know and then they slip. Oh, I'd be so upset. Ever since I got pregnant, I've been having tooth pain in this area, and I need to go into the dentist because I'm feeling like I might have to have a root canal or something, just because I've just been having this pain. And when I brush my teeth, there's blood in the sink, and it wasn't like that before pregnancy, but I had that with my pregnancy with Skyla too. I got a yeast infection, and it was sucky because I didn't know if it was a yeast infection or a UTI. And when I called after hours, because it was on the weekend, I called after hours, and the on-call doctor wanted to put me on antibiotics, just saying like, well, in case it's a UTI, you need to get on these antibiotics because it could be bad. And in my head, like, it just didn't feel right. I was like, I really don't think it's a UTI. I've had yeast infections before. I'm having those same symptoms, so I think it's that. Because your body, when you're pregnant, is way more prone to getting infections, whether it's a yeast infection or a UTI. You're much more likely to get them during pregnancy. But I've had yeast infections before, and I thought that that's what it was. So I treated it with Monistat one day, and all my symptoms cleared up. So I'm so glad that I didn't go on 10 days of antibiotics or a week or whatever they wanted me to go on for something that they didn't even diagnose, you know. And I even told her, I'll just go into urgent care and have them do a test. And she's like, well, that's too expensive. You might as well just go on the antibiotics. And I know that my OB would probably never recommend that. And so I was either gonna just wait until Monday to go in for the test or just start the medication. If you can hear Skyla crying, Nick is taking care of her right now, so don't worry, she's covered. I am gonna have a Zika test done tomorrow, because 2 weeks before I got pregnant, I was on a cruise, and the cruise went to Bahamas, and the Bahamas is one of the places that's affected by the Zika virus. And you're not supposed to go to those areas if you're pregnant or if you're trying to get pregnant. I did not think, once again, I guess this is stupid, but I didn't think that we would get pregnant so soon. We were trying, but I'm naive, I guess. And even though I got pregnant soon with Skyla, I just didn't think it was gonna happen that soon this time, because we only had a baby almost like a year ago. So it's like, and at the time she was only 9 months old when I found out I was pregnant. Or when I got pregnant. So I ended up getting pregnant 2 weeks after we went. However, I did not get bit by any mosquitoes, and Nick didn't get bit by any mosquitoes, but they're being cautious, and they want me to get the test done anyway, and I'm happy to have the test. I'm having that done tomorrow, and I'm really not worried about it, but they are very serious. The CDC is taking it very seriously. They want to even come out to our house to make sure that we don't have any standing water anywhere around the house that could breed mosquitoes. And they said that Nick does not have to get tested, but that we should either abstain from sex or use condoms throughout the entirety of our pregnancy. I think that they have to say that in order to cover their bases, in order to be extra cautious, and just I think they said it with an abundance of caution, that's what they recommend to people. However, neither of us got bit by mosquitoes. I do not think that either of us got the Zika virus or has the Zika virus. I think that that's a really, like, really outrageous, like, I guess that's not outrageous. They just want to be safe, but that's what they've recommended that we do. And that is all for my pregnancy update. And I know it's crazy because last time I started at 8 weeks and I did like weekly updates all throughout my pregnancy. But like I said, I'm going to be starting with 12 weeks and I'm actually about to film that video right now. So this was my update from week 4 through week 11, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do need to film Skyla's 11-month update, and I'm hoping to be able to get that done tomorrow. She's 11 months old, and she'll be 1 year old on June 14th, which is insane. We've been planning her first birthday party, and it's just, I can't believe it's gone by so fast. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please give it a thumbs up if you are excited to see more pregnancy updates. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And just double check anyway, because some people say that they were subscribed and then YouTube unsubscribed them for some reason. So just go and double check for me and make sure that you're subscribed. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.